What's up, dudes and dudes to the internet? My name's Scythe, and we are back here for another Trove, and today we're going to be talking about how you actually make mini-games. So the only reason that we're actually here in the hub is I just wanted to show anybody that's actually a part of the Team Pixel Club is you come over to the portal hub here, and then you just hop into this one right here, and this will take you to the minigame section. Now, what we ended up doing for this biome is something a little bit unique that you might not traditionally do with mini-games. Mork and me ended up constructing a bunch of different mini games in one single biome. So with that, there's a bunch of different spawn points. And while this portal right here is going to take you to any of these mini games that we have currently already developed or under development. So we've got this one right here. We got a couple platformers over there and a couple over there that I'll show you promptly. But I just wanted to show you that you can actually do something like this. And it's kind of like you can use the spawn points for the random number generation as to the percentage of how you're going to actually spawn on that map, because technically speaking, there's no limit to the amount of coins or spawn points or anything that you can end up putting on these maps. So we try to kind of generally keep these maps down to like a little bit over 100 coins per, depending on the map itself and the difficulty. Because the way that the coin maps are going to work is as we end up entering this portal here, and you can always just test them out yourself. So as you end up entering the portal, if it doesn't take 50 years, normally you gotta wait for 10 people, but you can type /test arena to try it out for yourself, and just even with other people as well. But be careful, because sometimes people like to spam it, which is a little bit annoying, because for some reason everybody can click test arena, not just like a certain restriction to members or anything like that. But anyways, this is gonna force the round if it ever starts. There we go, and we actually just ended up generating on this map. So we're gonna have a minute and 30 seconds to go through the map and try and get as many coins as possible. Now, while you're not gonna end up getting any rewards for completing these mini games, like custom mini games or anything like that, right? But the fact of the matter is that the Dragon Challenge, when you go and actually activate these in the hub, the way that it works is I don't know the full breadth of all the different ranks, but I do know that once you have to get to 90 coins in order to actually get the platinum rank. So we kind of have scaled all of these maps accordingly, and then the difficulty of them kind of just differs depending on like your play style and the way that the person ends up actually going through it. So like that right there is actually one of the more difficult jumps, so that you can get over here, and then this jump you have to actually do the shift jump in order to get over there, and then there's just a couple coins all around on the ground just so we can kind of get everything to all work properly. And generally speaking, you can use a lot of the tips that I already have in my like how to build like a PvP biome tutorial, because generally speaking, you know, it's pretty much the exact same thing. But what you're going to end up mostly learning, and this just kind of comes from experience, even Merc didn't really have geez Louise, didn't really have enough of experience to understand most of that stuff. Like even on this map, for example, he actually constructed the ground out of just normal, like, what was it? It was like, oh yeah, nice, we just got it. He actually just had a brown, not brown, like a purple ground, and then afterwards we kind of tore all that up to just put some highlands grass down here. And the way that the dirt and grass, like it's kind of difficult to describe, because there's actually a grass block while there's also grass that you can actually plant through the gardening. But the way that the grass block is going to work is construct the highlands dirt, which you can just construct at a cube converter. And then that highlands dirt is one of the cheapest dirts. There's no reason to get the other dirt over the highlands dirt. It's just going to take an orange block. And then whatever block the dirt is connected to, whichever grass block, that includes the sand over on the treasure isle, or the purple grass over there in the undead biome, or even the desert grass and all of that stuff, so long as you end up having it connected to a grass block, is going to slowly kind of convert over time into what you see before you, right? So this is kind of like the undead biome grass. Now, another cheap trick that you can end up doing is using mimic blocks. Well, those can be a little bit expensive for most starting players, but you can use those mimic blocks to kind of set up a grass fuse, I like to call it, that would come all the way over here, and then you could end up just using that as a kind of quick and easy method. Now, a couple important things to keep in mind with the grass blocks, because that's just kind of going to generally be what you use to make your maps look fancy, is that if you're going to box it in like we did with the canyon map right here, you're going to have to put glass on the ceiling, because otherwise, if there is like a big block wall, kind of just like a block ceiling just blocking all the light out, unfortunately, it's going to kill all the grass blocks and it's not going to actually end up growing, which is disappointing. Also, a very weird game mechanic is you can see stuff like this right here. This prop item is actually occupying the space above that block, and because of it, the grass block isn't actually growing. That's pretty much it as far as how the mini games end up operating. The coin mini games are very self-explanatory, just gather as many coins as possible, while the racing mini games are a little bit different. I ended up constructing this one down here with Mork and Bubble Anchor as well, and this one is just its own separate biome all on its own. This is a racing mini game. The way that these are going to operate is you're going to get all of the rings, pretty much the entire round. You're gonna have infinite time, and it's never gonna end until you end up getting all of the rings. Now, unfortunately, with Trove being as laggy and broken as it is, half of the time you'll walk straight through a ring, and then it'll just end up reappearing while you're in the middle of a round because it didn't actually count as you ended up grabbing it, which is disappointing. But if you're wondering how you actually use mounts and stuff like that, that's where these blocks are going to come into play. So as long as you have this mount block sitting here in the biome, you only need one of them. It's telling the game itself that you're going to be able to use your mounts inside the mini game. So you can do that for coin games as well if you prefer those over races. You can also, there's boats and wing blocks. Let me actually show you these right here. You craft all of those things just at the world spring right here in the minigame section. So a time pickup is going to increase your time on the racing game, and generally speaking, just with how it ends up working in the hub anyways, is you have to complete the race within 15 seconds, which is pretty much impossible because of how broken this game is, unfortunately. But then you use all these blocks. I don't even know why you would need a mag rider, like seriously. The wing course, that would be very interesting, but unfortunately, again, it's really, really laggy. So you kind of just build them for fun rather than trying to make it something that you want as a challenge. And there's gonna be two separate portals, one for the racing minigame and one for the coin game, so keep that in mind. And then you can do all sorts of different stuff. That's, you know, we've been having an absolute blast building things like this. Like this map right here was just an absolute blast to make and really, really fun to play. I'll probably end up showing this in a different video just because we're gonna get a little bit on time here while I'm kind of explaining it, but lots of secrets in the map and stuff. Kind of tried to balance it the same as I do with even when I do PvP maps, where you know, you can kind of get through the entirety of the map choosing a bunch of different pathways and still end up getting the 90 coins. Then there's another one Merc ended up making over here, which is kind of like the harder map if you end up generating it. And then first and foremost, what Merc and me ended up doing, he had an idea of doing side-scrolling maps. So he actually constructed this jungle area right here, which is kind of reminiscent of the old side-scrolling Donkey Kong on the Super Nintendo. And then I ended up making kind of a homage to a Mario map right here. And while it may seem very, very short, I kind of ended up varying it up by having like an underground section and a couple secret zones and stuff like that. And then over here, you're probably gonna see this under construction for a while because we went on a building spree, kind of constructing all of these maps like within only like 3 or 4 days. And now we ended up starting this other project over here, which these are some big projects. And I mean, it looks like Merc is actually still in the building mood, but these are actually going to be maps from Mario Sunshine. So this is going to be the hub area from Mario Sunshine. I kind of already laid down the basic structure and like of how it's all gonna end up being laid out. This is pretty much how I would recommend to build any types of maps, whether it's mini games or PvP. You're gonna want to lay down the structure so that you can get all of the different jumps, you know, and most of all just the kind of the feel of the map and see whether or not like it's all spaced properly. And then you kind of go in there and refine it a little bit more with the jump heights and stuff like that, add the little details, kind of last and so on and so forth. But if you can end up being quick enough to end up getting all of the grass and everything like that in the map first, is going to save you a lot of time by not having to replace it all after. Like even on this map, all of the grass ended up being put in, but the sand desert over there, like I put the sand in afterwards, so that took quite a while. And then this right here, this is going to be an insane project that Merc's doing. Uh-oh, maybe he's doing a different type of map, it seems, because otherwise this was supposed to be the floating island map from Mario Sunshine as well, which is actually shaping up to be very cool. I'm really, really liking it. But maybe it's a Pikmin map instead. Yeah, this looks like Pikmin. Okay, cool. So maybe that's what we're going for instead. Still really, really enjoying all the homage maps, and well, now you can actually play them all yourself as well, folks. I just wanted to kind of use this as a video to instruct you how the mini games end up working, because we've actually constructed quite a few maps, while also just having it as an episode in the series to kind of explain and show you here's where all of these are if you want to play them as yourselves, right? So thanks so much for watching. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content. Sign on and stay epic, everybody.
Believe in yourself.